Hi everyone. Hello, hello. Coming at you live. A few little techie issues there, but I'm on. So I'm just hooking up Instagram as well. And just wait a little while for you to join me. Okay. Hey, hello Instagram. So, most of you know me by now, but my name's Kelly and I'm the founder of Digital Yoga Academy. And I'm excited to be here today to share with you some insights around email marketing. And we're going to be talking about how you can create a really powerful email newsletter to send to your students. And I'm excited to be back on live, and I came to you last Tuesday, and I'm going to be here every Tuesday to talk about a different marketing related hello guys, hey Emily, to talk to you about a different topic every week. So expect to see me every Tuesday, same time. But today we're talking about email marketing and how to create a powerful newsletter that you can send to your students. And this is a newsletter that they're going to open, but also they're going to enjoy receiving and look forward to receiving your newsletter as well. So I want to start off by just talking about some of the reasons why you need to have an email list. And here we go, sorry, just getting connected there. There we go. Some of the reasons why you should have an email list. Just as a reminder, I mean, this is something that I talk about a lot in the Facebook group, and email marketing is one of my kind of passions. And I always encourage yoga teachers to set up their email list and just to prioritize it really for growing your list if you want to have a successful yoga business. Okay, so you should really have kind of clear intentions around that, and also put some processes in place that focus on building your email list, but also nurturing your email list, because that's super important. And that process is not as difficult as you might think it is. And there really are some simple and effective ways that you can go about growing your list, whether that's having multiple opt-in forms on your website, or even you can integrate MailChimp with your Facebook page, and you can have a tab on your Facebook page that's just dedicated for collecting people's email addresses as well. And also asking your students in class if they'll give you their email address. So take a notepad with you and get them to give you their email addresses so you can add that to your list as well. And I promise you that those first people that you get on your list will actually turn out to be some of the most valuable connections that you have in your yoga business, okay? And connection really is key in the online world. So, you should think of your email list as a marketing tool that helps you to create relationships with your potential students, okay? So I want to talk to you firstly, just to really cover some key reasons why you need an email list, in case you're not totally convinced about this right now, okay? So first up, you own your list, okay? So you might be spending a lot of your time on social media. You're spending a lot of time creating content or doing live videos, which is great, you should be doing that. But actually, if social media, if Facebook or Instagram closed your account tomorrow, or they closed down, how would you contact that audience that you've been building? How would you contact your students? It's really, really difficult to make contact with your students. Whereas if you have your email list, you can contact your students, you can land in their inbox, and you can be there. So social media is rented land, and it's also constantly changing. So it becomes harder to, reach your students organically, and the algorithms are always changing. It becomes more difficult because it's out of your control, whereas your email list is in your control. And owning your email list is actually quite a big deal. You can also learn about your students. Okay, so once you've got people on your email list, you can reach out to them and you can ask them questions. You can send them surveys, you can ask them to send you an email back. You can really get to understand who they are and what it is that they want to receive from you. So you can ask them questions, you can find out, what they're expecting from you, and then you can create that content that they really want to receive. Okay, so you can learn more about your students, and you can ensure that you're creating content that's going to be really valuable to them and that they look forward to receiving. And you can also show more of you and your personality. Okay, and sending emails allows you to add a really personal touch to an otherwise impersonal online experience. Okay, and heartfelt emails that are authentic and come from your heart can be really deeply personal. So don't underestimate the power of sending an email. Okay, so that gives you a few reasons there as to why you need to have an email list. And when you've got an email list, well, there's no point in having an email list if you then don't email your students. Okay, so it's all very well having people on your list, but then if you kind of, get distracted, or you let your fears kind of overcome you, because I know it can be easy to say to yourself, oh, they don't want to hear from me, or probably my emails are annoying, or, they've got better things to do than to be reading my emails. It's easy to say those things to yourself, but actually, if people have given you their email address, you're actually doing them service, and you also yourself. Okay, so let's just discuss. I'm just going to check if I've got any kind of messages or anything here at the moment. To set up, Amy. Hello, Amy. I will. I'll give you some information on that. I think I might have that in a blog post, but I'll come on to that in a moment. So yeah, sending your newsletter, why you should send a newsletter. Okay, so you might be actually wondering how often you should send a newsletter, and I think that the optimum frequency is weekly. So you have a weekly class schedule, no doubt. So a weekly newsletter is a good way to stay at the front of your students' minds, and to be showing up in their on a weekly basis, because otherwise they could forget you, or you're not prominent enough in their inbox. They don't see your name enough. So having a weekly newsletter and picking a day and a time that works for you is really important. So you should, if it's on a Monday, so you're going to send your email out on a Monday, then pick a time, just like me today. So Tuesday for my Facebook Live at 11 o'clock every Tuesday, 11 o'clock London time. That I'm going to be in here talking to you. Okay, so let your students know when they're going to receive an email from you, and be consistent. Show up, make sure you're there. Pick a day and then work back from that. So if it is going to be on a Monday that you send your newsletter out, a few days before that, you might want to start thinking about creating content and working on any freebies that you're going to send them, or working on any blog posts that you're going to link to. So having some really kind of value-driven content, some of that sort of juicy, meaty content that you're going to provide to them, you need to give yourself time to work on that, obviously. And then, giving yourself time to set up your email in MailChimp or whatever one that you're using, whatever email service provider that you're going to use. And I do recommend MailChimp because it does a lot of the work for you. So, most people these days are reading their emails on their mobile device, and you need to make sure that your emails are mobile responsive, okay? So MailChimp actually does a lot of that for you, and it makes it super easy for you, which is great. That's what you want. You want it to be easy. And the other thing about using MailChimp is that you can set up a template, and then every week you replicate your template and you replace the images and the content for your new newsletter. And again, that helps you just to save time. When we're teaching, we've got lots of classes to go to and you've got lots of things going on in your week, any kind of time saver is obviously welcomed. So I'm going to talk through now a few reasons why you need to have a newsletter. So firstly, you can keep your students in the loop, okay? So if you're teaching schedule changes, or you have a new event or a class that you're starting or a workshop, you can directly email your students, you can keep them updated and keep them in the loop. They don't have to scroll through thousands of social media posts to see, your news. So the other thing to say is that email subscribers buy. Okay, so there is research out there that shows that people on your email list are more likely to purchase from you. So these are the people that receive your emails are much more likely to book your classes. They're more likely to book your events, your workshops, your retreats. And I can talk from personal experience here. So in the last year, I started hosting yoga retreats, and I've hosted 7 now. And most of the people that come on my retreats have heard about my retreat as a result of being on my email list, okay? Last May, I hosted 3 back-to-back yoga retreats in Ibiza with 12 people on each one. So that was 36 spaces to fill, and around 90% of those spaces were filled by people on my email list. And what this means is that you don't have to spend lots of time or money having to market yourself. So you don't have to spend lots of money on Facebook ads or having flyers produced or really hustling around or worrying about filling your higher priced products and offerings. If you've got people on your email list and you nurture those relationships, you offer value, and you create really deeper relationships with people that resonate with you and that want to come to your classes, they want to come to your retreats. So that's really important to keep in mind, because it's very easy to think, oh no, I should be doing this on social media, or I should be spending my energy and my time and my effort on social media. I know we're all kind of drawn to social media, but actually spending time on your email list, building your email list with people that resonate with you as a yoga teacher, and treating those people well, really, really going to help you in the long run, okay? People read their emails every single day. So I actually saw a stat that said, on average, people read their emails 150 times a day. I mean, I find that quite unbelievable. But it probably is true. I mean, if you think about it, you might be tempted to look at your emails first thing in the morning, or constantly, pulling down on your phone to see if you've got new emails that have come through. People check multiple times a day, okay? So you showing up in their inbox is going to keep you at the front of your students' minds. And it could be the difference between booking your yoga class or booking the class of another teacher. Okay, so when you think of it like that, you know, it's critical really to be staying at the front of your students' minds, especially in this kind of ever-evolving and competitive, I don't quite like to use that word, but I guess there's more yoga teachers out there. And I always say that that is a good thing, because there's more of us to share the message of yoga. And really, you know, if you focus on your niche, you're going to find the students that resonate with you and connect with you. So it shouldn't really be about competition, but it is busier. There's more choice. There's more choice for people. So, you know, being in your students' inbox is going to keep you front of mind. It's going to help you to fill your classes, and that's what we want, right? We want to fill our classes. You can't rely on social media alone. Okay, I've spoken about this already a little bit, but you know, it's becoming harder to gain organic traction on Facebook and Instagram. So even if you've got thousands of followers, you know, you can't rely on social media, and people don't buy there either. They buy from being on your email list. So it makes it a lot easier for people, okay? They don't have to come and seek you out because you're there and you're in their inbox, and they want to hear from you. And I say this time and time again, if somebody's given you their email address, it's because they want to hear from you. So if you don't step up, you know, they're going to miss out, and you're going to miss out as well. Okay. So let's have a quick discussion around how you can make your emails stand out, because we all know that you know, we all receive lots of email newsletters every week in our inbox, and some you'll read, some you won't. Some you won't read, and some you might unsubscribe from. So the challenge really is making sure that your emails are the emails that your students do read. Okay, so how do you go about that? Well, you know, you really need to ensure that you offer value and you offer things that your students want to read. So that's when it comes back to, you know, understanding who your students are, asking them questions, getting them involved in, you know, your content plan. And, you know, really ensuring that you're showing up every week and you're being consistent, you're there, and, you know, they look forward to receiving your emails. So that's the challenge really, is to create that scenario. And, you know, maybe you might kind of go back to those kind of fears around, you know, they don't want to read my emails. And, you know, your email newsletter actually becomes a little bit of a nemesis for you. So there are some things that you can do to make it easier. Okay, so let's talk about some of those things now. So a suggestion I have for you is to keep track of any ideas that you have throughout the day. Okay, so this is probably one of the most important tips, you know, to help you to create the content, because I know it can be one of the biggest hurdles to writing a regular newsletter is not actually knowing what you're going to write about. So you want to get in the habit of keeping a notebook on you, or even using your phone and creating little voice memos to record ideas as they come up. Okay, so this might be, you know, perhaps a reaction that you have to a posture, or I don't know, an interesting thought that you've had around ahimsa, or having some epiphany throughout the day. These are all newsletter topics. These are all things that you can talk to your students about. Okay, so, you know, use your voice recorder on your phone, use your notepad, write it all down, and when something meaningful happens to you, or something interesting or funny happens, write it down, make a note of it. And at the time, it might not sound like a really great idea for a newsletter, but jot it down, because over time, you're going to start creating a bit of a list, okay? And if you set aside 10 minutes every week to transfer everything that you've written down or everything that you've, made a voice recording about, after some time, you're going to have a pretty big list of stuff. You can have more stuff there than you can actually possibly write about. Okay, so you want to create a list of topics that when you come to write your newsletter, you can look at that list, and you'll be able to pull up a topic that resonates with you in that moment when you're writing your newsletter. Okay. Really important as well is to, when you go about writing your newsletters, is to use your actual voice. Okay, so you've probably heard this before. So you've probably heard, the people talk about your yoga voice. Okay, and it's a little bit of a common, well, it is a common mistake, especially in the yoga communities, is to think that we need to write or speak in a certain way, or that you have to sound spiritual or wise or something like that would be referred to as a yoga voice. And you should really avoid this, because the moment you find yourself trying to sound like something or something that you're not, you actually lose your audience, okay? Because they resonate with you as a teacher for a certain reason, and when they come to your class or where they've been to your website, you want to be able to put you across, okay? You want to be coming across in the most authentic way that you can, okay? So just be you. When you write the words that you would actually use, and say things that you actually care about and actually believe, because that's what's going to go a really long way in making your newsletters a must-read for your students. And don't worry about being original, because you're going to be pretty hard-pressed to find something to talk about that somebody else hasn't spoken about or written about previously, okay? The difference here, or the challenge, is actually to put your spin on it, is to use your words. Because the truth is, as yoga teachers, we all teach sun salutations, okay? But we do it with different energy and different intention and different wording. And it's exactly the same when you're writing or talking about a topic. Do it in your way, rather than thinking that you have to be overly original. You don't. Just put your ideas across in your way. Okay, so I'm now going to go on to some tips that I've put together for writing compelling email copy. So there are a few kind of key pointers to keep in mind when writing your emails, so that they get read and they get clicked. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to mention is that you should keep your email newsletters 90% educational and 10% promotional. Okay, so the chances are that your email subscribers don't want to hear about booking your classes and your retreats 100% of the time. Okay, they want to gain insight into your story and into your journey. So you should share that with them, but also they want to receive value. So some of the things that you could do, let me just try and think of some examples, but some of the things that you could do, you could share a blog post that you've just written, perhaps on, the 8 limbs, or a part of yoga that you really connect with. You could create a PDF one-page document that breaks down a posture that you're teaching in class that week. You could share the link to your new playlist. You could share a link to a new yoga class that you've recorded online. Perhaps you might have a YouTube and you just created a new piece of content on YouTube, you could share that with them. So there's lots of things that you can do to offer value and to educate through your newsletter rather than just promote your offering. Okay, so that's something you should always keep in mind. And then next is to make sure that you keep your design and your copy minimal, because if you have too much going on in your newsletter, it can easily feel quite cluttered, just because of the nature, I guess, of a newsletter. So the trick is to use concise copy and also to have white space in the design of your template. So use images, use buttons, use boxes to place your copy in, have white space around it, try and keep it looking clean and simple. And concise copy is actually really key, because what you actually want to do is you want to send your subscribers to your website, okay? So if you've written a blog post, you don't necessarily want to just lift the copy from your blog post and put that in your email newsletter. What you want to be doing is creating a summary of the blog post, adding that into the newsletter, and then sending people to your website to continue reading that piece of content. And the concise copy actually gives your subscribers a taste of your content, so that they want to know more and they click through and they want to learn more about what it is you're presenting to them in the newsletter that week. So white space is really key, because it helps visually and it helps to to remove that kind of uncluttered feel. And especially on mobile, it makes it much easier for people to click through to the right link. You want your email to be scannable, so experiment with using subheadings and bullet points and highlighting vital information, using short sentences, using short paragraphs. You can really work on building a template that you use week after week, and designing your emails so that you break up your copy, and just making sure that it's scannable, because people won't necessarily read everything. And I mean, this applies also for your website. If you're writing blog posts or any copy that you're creating, you want to make sure you're using the bullet points and subheadings and highlighting information so that it's really scannable, because that's just the nature of how we consume content online. We scan it. I mean, you start to notice it yourself. When you go onto a website, you don't necessarily read every single word there. You'll scan through to see if, and you're doing that because you're trying to establish whether this information is for you. So make it easy for your subscribers to read your content and for them to want to click through and learn more about what it is that you're offering them. And also to focus on using less we and more you, okay? So use the word you more than referring to I, me, we, us in your email copy. Keep the focus of your copy on your subscriber rather than about you, because it's about them at the end of the day. It's about how you can help them with their yoga journey, okay? Keep it about them, because people, after all, people are subscribing to get your emails. They're interested in how you can, or what you can offer them that's helpful to them and can help them with their yoga journey. So make it about them rather than about you, okay? And focus on the benefits of yoga. Okay, so, the benefits of yoga rather than the features that would be things like, the location of your class or the dates of your yoga class. Focus on the benefits of yoga and the benefits of your offerings and what it is that you can offer, because it can be tempting to talk about the features because that's the kind of easy stuff to present. But remember to put most of your emphasis on the benefits, and keep it benefit focused, rather than feature focused, if that makes sense. So that kind of goes back, or it ties into the 90% educational and the 10% promotional, because the kind of feature focused information would probably sit more under the promotional content. And then lastly, tell stories. Okay, so tell stories in your emails. Incorporate some kind of element of storytelling in your email copy, because this helps you to add an interesting human element to your emails that will really draw people in. And this goes back to what I was saying about, having kind of heartfelt content and being personal in the content that you're sharing. And if your storytelling is about you, make sure that you can make it relatable to your subscribers. So, it might be about your yoga journey and how yoga has helped you, but, make sure that becomes even more relevant if it's a story that your yoga niche can relate to, your audience that they can relate to. Okay, so that's lots of information. You've had a lot from me here today. And I think, it's just important to really, I keep coming back to it, but I'll say it again, is just to offer value. Find out what it is that your students want to hear about, and to offer value every time you send an email out to your subscribers. Because when you offer value, that's when people will continue to read your email newsletters. So I'm just going to check now on some of these questions that have come through. Let's have a look. Oh, it's so nice to see so many of you have joined me today, and thank you for all your little comments and messages. And yeah, okay, so I did receive an email with a question. Let's have a look. And okay, so Rachel emailed in and she asked me, what kind of email do I send? I'm afraid to sound spammy. I don't want to sound spammy. So we've kind of talked about this really already, but I think it's important to, start with your mindset and think about what your strategy is and how you can serve your audience by adding value. Okay, and when you do that, when you bring those two things together, your strategy and value-driven content, that's when you're going to have an engaged audience. When you can constantly mix, serving your email list with a touch of your launch strategy, because you need to kind of keep that in mind as well, that's when the magic really starts to happen for you. Okay, so it's really important to map out a strategy that's going to serve your subscribers lots of free content and value, and to mix that in with your promotional content as needed. Okay, so it's probably quite helpful it is helpful to start by thinking about any big announcements or promotions of launches that you've got coming up over the next, say, 3 or 4 months, so that you can figure out how you can serve your subscribers around these dates or these launches. And I had one more question. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, okay, so how often should I send an email? So we did kind of talk about this at the start, but I guess my recommendation to you is to send an email every week and to be consistent. But how often can you consistently reach out? That's what you really need to be asking yourself. Is it weekly, or is it every 2 weeks, or is it every 10 days? What is it that's reasonable for you and that you can commit to? And just pick that and go with it. Okay, so just be consistent. That's my kind of key thing there for that question, is just to be consistent. So I think I've covered so much here today. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you found it relevant and useful. If you have any other questions on this particular topic, then please go ahead and leave a comment on the video. The live video will be available always on my Facebook page, on the Digital Yoga Academy Facebook page. So video will be saved there, so you can always come back to it and leave me any questions, and I will be happy to follow up and answer any questions that you've got. And I will see you next week, next Tuesday, same time. I'm looking forward to seeing you then, and have a great week, everyone, and get writing that email newsletter. See you all soon.